Bonjour, this is Kelly, aka Buffy Python, and today we are back with Lord of the Rings The Third Age, and now we are in West Moria. I know we got in West Moria before, but that was part of where I was playing through a region, or however the heck you pronounce that, so now we're in, I guess, fully West Moria proper. So right off the get-go, this is a pretty dark place. Not just because there's dead dwarves all over it, I mean that's thematically dark, but it's actually dark. And turning up the brightness doesn't do a whole lot. I did turn up the brightness on my TV while I was playing this because it gets kind of hard to see after a while, but that's one of the parts where that mini-map comes in handy pretty well. It's not 100%, obviously, you know, it's not a foolproof way, but you get tripped on things sometimes, but not too bad. This little watery area we're coming into, so once again traipsing through the water at our little snail's pace. And as you can see, there's that big old ball of orthanc, or whatever the heck they call it, Palantir thing. And LotR and the Woman came back. Yeah. So I guess before we just annoyed him, and now he's like, hey, now I'm actually pissed. So yeah, he's just, I don't know, he's just annoyed. I like that Moria is like everybody, it's just like all the big, giant monsters of everything just decided to just fuck shit up there. Like you got your fire dude, you know, the, Balrog, you got Watcher in the water, his water, he's got every kind of element. Wind demons, you know, all this crap. Toph, just messing with people, just to see. There's your tentacle frenzy again. This will get me the views. It's gonna blow YouTube up. I love switching people out whenever you do that. I didn't do it there, but I love doing it just because they like run out and they're just like, okay, hey, let me do it, buddy. I always imagine they tag out, like they clap each other's hands or something when they go through. Red Rover, let Barathor come over. So yeah, the Watcher in the Water really is not that big of a deal. Like, he really isn't that strong. I certainly don't think he's ever killed me before when I played through this. You know, it's not like I'm overpowered by any means. So he's pretty chump. I do like there's a little delay here before they get hit. They're just kind of standing there like, what's he gonna do? Oh! And it just like surprises them for some reason. You would think, once again, I know I mentioned this before, you would think Flaming Fury would not do anything to him. But it does. I don't know why. You got your furries, you got your tentacles, it's a winning combination, of course. Please know that I am being sarcastic in that. Because it's hard to tell with things like that on the internet anymore. You never know. People are strange. And if you are a furry or whatever, whatever, I guess teach their own. It's just I don't know, it's a lifestyle, I guess? Is it a lifestyle? I don't know. I can't exactly get behind it. I don't know, it's just kind of weird. It's a little bestiality-ish to me. I don't know. So yeah, he's a chump, but he gets to get a lot of experience points, so, you know, yay for him, I guess. We got a lot of crap from him. We had some, I guess how do you give you all that stuff? I guess he had lodged inside of him, I don't know. Once again, with the tentacle, you know. Haven't heard of hentai where you jam bows up people's asses, but whatever, you know. Everybody's got their own thing going on. I leave these in here, I mean, they're kind of boring, but I leave them in mostly just so you can kind of see how, you know, how I tend to, you know, give people stuff. Not just the, you know, weapons, obviously, and how they look, but just to show, you know, how they're progressing. You know, what strengths and weaknesses and things they're building up. And eventually I will realize that you can go directly from the new equipment part and just do stuff there. But that's what I always do, is always like switch around because I forget, wait, did he actually have a new thing or not? So this is where I'm just showing off. This is what this brooch looks like. It's actually crappier than his existing brooch. Which, is it brooch or brooch? I don't know. It looks like brooch, so I'm calling it brooch. But It's crappier than the original one, so I don't really know why they give it to you. Because I don't even think that was something that I got from Evil Mode. So it's not even like, oh, in the regular game you wouldn't get that. So, I don't know. Maybe it's if you've missed something earlier on, I don't know. I don't know when we got that, nicer brooch. I don't know if we got it when he was fighting or something like that. You can go back with the tape. The tape, yes, this is tape. This is all on high quality VHS, is how I'm recording this. Giant VHS player built into my laptop, streaming it all in glorious high def. I like having Idriel out in here in particular just because it's messing with them. It's like, yeah, Hadhod, you love all those elves, don't you? You hate having them run around your turf. But I'm going to have her run around and get all the points for everything you do. While we're fighting these wargs, one thing I have wondered is, how does Hadhod not know where everything is in Moria? Like, how does he not know what's going on? I mean, I mentioned before, like, how did everybody say it's a forgotten kingdom when it's totally there? But, like, how does he not know? Like, oh yeah, we just go up down here, down this hallway here, and then we get there, and oh yeah, just hang a left and we'll be at so-and-so's place, Or even before we actually get to, like, where everyone's dead, like, how does he not immediately know, the shit's wrecked. Nobody came up to the gates or anything. I'm thinking everyone's dead. Besides the fact that a giant monster attacked us in front of Moria, so clearly, somebody's, missing out on their job, if nothing else. But yeah. I do wish that you would see some of the things attack each other, because, like the wargs attacking the orcs or something. Because I can't imagine the wargs have alliances. I mean, they're just animals. I don't think the wargs are, like, working for Sauron or Saruman or anybody. I think they're just kind of like, hey, I'm hungry, I want food, and that's it. And so I don't think they're doing anything like that, so I kind of wish it would be like, you have orcs and everybody attacking them and stuff, and just kind of these weird, like, threesome battle things going on. Yes, Lord of the Ring threesomes. I wonder why all the dwarves are always considered Scottish. Because I don't really know why. Like, I certainly don't think it's part of the books. I think they just feel like having them be Scottish. I don't know if it's just because Gimli was Scottish and, the guy who played him was Scottish, and so they decided every dwarf from now on will be Scottish. Though, thinking about it, like, with The Hobbit, I know I can't remember their names. I haven't watched The Hobbit nearly as much as I've watched Lord of the Rings, but, Thorin, I'm probably totally wrong. I apologize. This is not the right LP to be getting names wrong of characters in Lord of the Rings, but, I'm pretty sure that Thorin is Scottish. I know that, but I don't know about the other, like, 8,000 dwarves that were in that movie, like the other, I don't even know how many, 11 or something. Like, I don't know if they were all Scottish. I know at least a few of the others were. I think some of them didn't really talk at all, to my knowledge. Like, they didn't talk much, or they had one line or something. So yeah, right now some of these, they're getting a little bit tougher. Like, as you get to new areas, they do scale up the enemies, and they do a very good progressive scaling throughout this game. Eventually, as you get to it, some places you're just going to be like, it's like all of a sudden it's like, oh, these guys are a lot tougher. And you just kind of realize that all of a sudden you have to deal with that. So here Goblin Bane comes into play and is useful. Because before he had that, and we were like, okay, where are the goblins at? Where are my goblins at? I haven't seen them. I don't use Pierce Will, like, at all. Like, I'm using it here just to show what it looks like, but it's... even though I use Idriel a lot, so, I mean, I have a lot of opportunity to use spirit powers against people, I don't know. I don't feel like, oh, spirit defense, gotta lower that on people. I just don't think it's necessary. So I'll show off Gift of Galadriel, or no, this is actually LotR here. I'll apologize. I don't know what I'm doing. I record these and then I record the voice, so I apologize. I'm a very mysterious character, even to myself. I don't know. The one thing that bugs me is when you get powers and then or you get like experience points and then all of a sudden it just kind of, you don't get quite enough for it to start a new line, but it did give you the experience and it just kind of stays big there. And it's like, no, please switch over. I'm trying to decide here because I want to give her some dexterity and some strength, but I'm like, like I hate doing it. Like I know that I need to do it, but I hate doing it. It's like working out for me. I'm like, I must do this, but I do not want to do this. The day will come when I will have leg day, and I will pump some iron, and I will run for a long time. But it is not this day. This day we sit. Once again, peeking on the save point, and trying to figure out where to go. This place, it used to be a lot more confusing to me as a kid to know where to go. But after a while, I don't know, you just kind of figure it out. The first time playing through, though, you're probably going to get lost or not be exactly sure where you're supposed to go next. Though the little, blinking parts, objective points on the mini-map are pretty useful. They work pretty well most of the time. Sometimes it's confusing if there's like a path that kind of winds around. You might be like, where am I supposed to go? Or that doesn't look like the right direction, but it actually is. At the beginning here with Varathor's, what are they called? Now I forget what they're called. They're not on the screen immediately. But his little things where he pumps everybody up, his little team building exercises. At first they're not particularly great. It's not like, oh my gosh, I need to do that. If you don't use that, you're dead. But you almost have to, again, almost like with Israel, but not quite to that extent. You have to use them because eventually you need to build up other things. Like, you don't have to have his later, company things. But it really helps. There's some that are later on that are just incredibly useful and will help you out a whole lot. Flames of Udun guy, looks like he's partying. It just looks like he's like head bashing there. I don't know who Udun is or if it's a place, because I know in the movies, Gandalf's like talking to the Balrog. He's like, the dark flame will not avail you, flame of Udun, or something like that. But he says flame of Udun. I don't know who Udun is, but he's got some nice fire. You can just blazing. He does. You know how Udun do. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody out there is named Udun. Yeah. Anymore, I think every combination of vowels and consonants is a name now. And I work at a call center, so I see just every kind of name that you could imagine. Just anything. I saw a lady named Wednesday today. Those babies are very hard to kill. Like how he says, the littlest ones are hardest to kill, but that goblin's actually taller than Haddo. Yeah, see, how does he not know where the Great Mithril Pit is? It's great, and it's a pit, and it's filled with, like, the most precious metal thing that they have. So, like, how do you not know where that is already? It's like, oh, my brothers, I miss you so much. Where is all your shit? Like, it's just very strange. I don't know. I like to think that Gandalf actually told the dwarves, like, even when he was, like, with the Hobbit and in that movie and everything, he's like, look, you guys are messing with some shit down there. Like, there are just, like, Balrogs and dwarves and goblins and just everything. Like, just kind of stay out of there. Don't even try. I do like to imagine, because, some of the goblins and orcs and things have, like, armor, and I like to imagine that there's a whole little society. Again, with them, talking and stuff, like, they must make their own crap, because it's not like you see them running around with, like, oh, it's a Gondorian shield or something like that. Like, they have, like, metal and stuff, so do they mine this? Do they just steal it from the dwarves and then make their own crap? Like, I don't know, but I'm just picturing little, like, orc blacksmiths, orc taverns, things like that. That's the movie I want to see, is just the orc side, the orc perspective. Seeing the family life, getting a little bit of the other side, not so black and white. Again, with the sexual things, goblin thrust, not particularly appealing, at least to me. Again, to each their own, but not appealing to me. Here's the part where I just, I didn't want to use, again, I had perfect mode, I just don't want to use it. Sometimes you only have a couple people you're fighting and you're like, this is not going to be that hard. And I want to save it for when there's like 4 people on the screen, or I have big boss or something like that, and you just don't want to. I have big boss, yes. You're fighting Snake. Barathor is fighting Snake. You're squirting water on Snake. It's like the water gun. I'm just shooting that over him. I'm just picturing Barathor walking around with a box. And Hadhot's like, I can't walk with the box. The box is too tall. That's my terrible Scottish accent. I'm even part Scottish, and so that's kind of sad, but whatever. I do a bunch of other accents, just not Scottish. Here, I'm showing off, you can't have 2 of the same Elfstone for some reason, and that bugs me, because there's sometimes where it's like, dude, I really want you to have more health, because you were the weakest, but whatever. This is a place where I think it would be nice to have at least some kind of torch mechanic. Because I understand, like, you don't have items that you use outside in this little, I don't know what you would call it, but the running around area. The part where you're not actually really interacting with a lot. But I understand that you're not going to be, like, picking things up and stuff like that. But I wish they could have something to that effect, where you could at least, so that way you could have some kind of light. Maybe the light dynamics weren't great enough at this time to where they felt like they could do that. I don't know. Or they also didn't think it was useful. And that's why they had the mini map. I don't know. But this area that we're in right now, with all the little rooms, is just kind of a little, I forget what they call it exactly, but basically there's a lot of chests. And I think every single chest here has an enemy by it. So there's going to be some enemies around here, just FYI. And some of them are useful, and as always, some of them are just going to be like, defy waterfile or whatever the heck. They have things to protect against water damage, but I really don't think that any of the enemies, to my knowledge, use water attacks at all. Like, the only one I could think of would be Watcher in the Water, but I don't think anybody else does, so I don't really think that's useful for anything at all. Water, and yes, water damage. You have to fight against wood rot, termites, things like that. We have to get Serve Pro out in Middle Earth. Serve Pro, like Saruman, never even happened. Another little work bitch slap there. Stop. Yeah, building up my Fluid Strike. Don't love the Fluid Strike, but you gotta have it. Gotta use it. Oh, you gotta use it. Oh, the Fluid Strike. So powerful. So majestic. It's a real treasure. Treasure beyond measure. Again, our happy little Elagast. I think I'm saying again too much. I'm probably not, but I don't know. I can't remember. And you shouldn't expect me to remember one word from the next. You really shouldn't. A full sentence for me is something to behold. I like to spin them around. I just like to show off what they have. To flaunt their stuff. You better work. Just like to show off show them what they got. Gotta flaunt it. Etc., etc. And if I had really felt like it, I probably could have looked up and seen, okay, that's a chest full of nothing, and so I can just ignore it, but I didn't want to. And plus, I'm a completionist. I'm lazy and a completionist, which somehow works together. I don't know how. I'm like that in so many ways. See, there you go. Now I'm building up something. Weakening Slash is a little better than other stuff. And we got Arrow Flurry, which is the most disgusting and dangerous of the McDonald's flurries. Really don't know why they make it. It sounds very dangerous. You hear about McDonald's getting, like, fingers in their chili and whatnot, which they don't. But, Arrow Flurry, you're just asking for it at that point. feel like the wargs almost sound like a pig, kind of. They have a little bit of that. It's like a pig dog. Dog pig. Man-warg pig. I'm going to be seeing a lot of Creature Bane, because there's a lot of wargs, at least at the beginning of this, like, they peter out as you get further into Moria, but at least at the beginning, you got a few of them. There's sometimes here, and I think it's one coming up, and there might have been one already, actually, but there are parts when you get to the chest, and you can actually, if you get to it quick enough, you can press X, and even if you get to it quick enough and it hasn't actually triggered the enemy yet, it'll show, like, you know, you'll see it, and it's almost like it should open, and it almost starts to open, and then you get the enemy, and then as soon as you're done fighting the enemy, and you're done with the battle, it's like you don't even have to press X, the thing just opens. And it's like you didn't quite catch it. Some of these too, like when you opened up, it was a, what's called a rune, and there's 7 different runes instead of 2 of 7, so there's 7 different runes, and the ones with the runes, if you open a chest with a rune, that's all you get. You don't get anything else, but at the end, after you get all the runes, you get to get a cool little treasure at the end, and so it's a little nifty little item, and it's part of a quest, is to get all of the runes, and then you get the cool item. So again, it's an optional quest, don't have to do it if you don't want to, but, you know, you have to go to, in this area you have to go to every area, pretty much. Like, you don't have to do everything in the area, but you have to go to every area, so you might as well. Like, it's not going to hurt anything. And here I'm showing off some Arrow Flurry. And Arrow Flurry, even though you get to use 2 different shots, you only get plus 1 SP for using it. You know, you hit 2 people, but you only get 1 SP, so which makes sense. You know, I understand it, so that makes sense. The other thing is, too, is that you could miss with either one. And with some of his shots, and Arrow Flurry in particular, maybe some of the others too, you can, if you listen closely, if you really look at it, you can kind of tell it makes a slightly different noise at the beginning if it's not going to hit the enemy, if it's going to miss, or I guess if the enemy dodges, I'm not sure. But if it's going to miss, it'll make a slightly different noise. And at this point, I can actually tell. I can hear before it, I'll be like, oh, okay, that's not going to hit them. And you can have 1 hit and 1 not with Arrow Flurry. The other unfortunate thing about Arrow Flurry is that if there's only 1 enemy, it's not like you can use Arrow Flurry and then you'll hit that same guy twice. It'll just hit them once. That's it. So, you know, I understand. It's a, I guess, relatively complex probably for a game, but I don't know. I hope you didn't like seeing Barathor's face in cutscenes, because you're not going to be seeing it, because, like, there's no point to not have a helm on him. Like, it's just going to help stuff out. So there he is. He's looking all dapper. I don't like this helm as much. I don't know. There's some better ones later on, and the one before was too. But this one was kind of goony. It's got a little wings on it. It's weird. I'm surprised that nobody's taken any of this crap. Like, you know, the orcs you would think would be like, ooh, shiny, and just take all this stuff, but no, apparently not. They just left all these, you know, swords and armor and stuff like that around. I was trying to tell where I was. There's another part where it's kind of not always the easiest to tell where you are. So I was kind of trying to figure out where I was. Peeping by my save point once again. And here I was like, I could have sworn you could go up on that thing, but I guess not. That's why it's like, I'm used to playing more open world games in general, and so it's hard to tell. You know, sometimes I'm used to like Just Cause 2 is a game that I absolutely love. It's like the best. And it's like is it there? Well, you can climb on it. That's it. Like, you can just climb shit all the time. That should have been the tagline for that game, is climb shit all the time. It's great. Highly suggest that game. Don't think I'll LP it. Well, I don't know. I could. Let's get through this thing first. let's struggle through this first, and then we'll see. But yeah. So this is the area where it's a little harder to figure out where the heck you're going, because like, see here, there's that other little path there, and you always want to think like, oh, surely I can go down that other way. No, you can't. You can, but I mean, you can't just turn on it in the middle of that path. This is an area where you're going to see kind of a cut here, and it's not going to be the most elegant of cuts, but what happened was I was playing through this part, and basically what happened is, in the middle of it, like during one of the battles that was coming up, I just kind of, everything just decided to just shit itself, and it didn't happen when I was playing the game, is the weird thing. Like, I played through it and it went fine. It was the recording software. And I think I'll show part of it, like, I might make a separate video and put part of it up, because it was so ridiculous. But it was, like, just everything, like, anytime I was fighting, like, everything just kind of, the screen would just blow out, and it just looked like this weird kind of, like, just chaos brewing, and it was weird. And then as soon as I went back to the running area, everything was fine. Like no problems at all, but just when I was attacking people, it was just, like, craziness. And I think at one point it just decided to stop recording it, too, so I don't even know what that was. But so I just went back and redid it. So at a point up here, you might notice, like, some of the people are not going to have, they might not have the same armor, because I was just trying to play through another part of it, you know, another save game, and just get through the whole part of the region, and up to here, and just skipping a lot of stuff, because I just needed to get through here. So I'm not going to have all the same stuff, but doesn't matter. Not important. What's important is the journey. Don't stop believing. Yes, I know I can sing. You know, I guess the orcs didn't have any coal. You know, they weren't mining any coal down here, because those guys are using flames of Udun like you wouldn't believe. And, shit ain't blown up, so, I don't know. This guy's bugging me because he keeps doing dark renewal. Renewing the darkness. That's what they should call, woolite, you know, dark renewal. Yes, I'm making woolite jokes, if you haven't noticed. This is how I roll now. I make jokes about detergent. That's what's happening, in case you weren't aware. Several minutes in, joking about woolite. This is the quality playthrough that you can expect from Buffy Python. Just FYI. I love when they just die of cleaving and they just kind of fall over. They're like, oh shit, and that's it. And he's just like, yeah, I slowly tortured that thing to death. Yeah, get some. Had Hod hid, he would have had. I don't know what that means, but I just like the name Hadhog. One thing I'll notice too, up there it says Erebor Warrior. Eventually, you know, as they get higher points and higher levels, after, I believe it's like every 10, so I think on like the 30th level it'll show, or something to that effect. It'll show like a different name on there, so it'll be like Erebor, like Captain, or Erebor Commander, or something like that, and it's different for each one. So like he's Erebor because Erebor is like a dwarf thing. I think that Idriel's is like Lothlorien Captain or whatever, and they all say the same thing in terms of Captain, Commander, crap like that. They're all the same, but they just have different little beginning part, and it just depends on where the character's from. Here we have Goblin and the Flaming Sword of Fire. I love when Hadhog just kind of, like, independently, like, you'll just occasionally just go, Rawr! Like, he's just really happy, like, that one was particularly good. I'm really enjoying this carnage. You don't want to be jumping around with that arrow in you, buddy. You know, it's probably not best. You're probably going to end up, you know, skewering yourself further. I do like when people are, you know, paralyzed or stunned, or I think it's stunned is the one that shows it. It kind of looks like the PS2 logo, you know, when on the opening screen, just kind of hovering above them. I don't think that's intentional. I think it just happens to look like that. See, over Hadhog, little glowy things. See here, this is after I cut because she's wearing different stuff, and I got Gift of Galadriel again. I already had Gift of Galadriel. And I already got that earlier in this same video. So here, yeah, we're a little further back. Might be a few items. Well, No, I get these here, so I don't know. I don't think I missed any of the chests. I think everything is still the same. Not fully sure, but I did pretty good with it, I think. As well as could be done with that heap of garbage of the recording after that. I don't know what it was. That's what I hate is when something like that happens and you're like, no, but why? Like, you want to know why it happened and you can't find out. It's just like, no, it just didn't. It just didn't happen. We don't know why. We just know. I kind of like how the goblins are so much smaller than us that it almost seems kind of unfair, like you're just hitting a child or something. You're just like, it's some little kid with a bow and his dog, and you're like, okay, let's do this. Let's wreck this kid. Never see goblin babies. Again, I want to see the domestic side of Mordor, you know, Warthank and what have you. I'll probably end up getting flagged for the music in this, to be honest. I don't know. It's small enough clips, I think, most of the time. And the background music isn't normally that loud when you're just walking around and there's other crap going on, so I don't think it's going to be too bad, but who knows? Who knows? Take it as it comes. It's how we do. We're flipping around. Not a lot of the other characters have shields, like Elagos doesn't have a shield. I feel like it would be useful to have a shield if you're well, I guess if you're an archer you need both hands. I guess that makes sense. But yeah. I kind of wish that there were more of the Hobbits in Lord of the Rings. Not like more of you know, Frodo and Sam, because I was a little tired of them in the main movies. Not, you know, every time I came to them, it's like, we're away from the battle now. We have to see these two. But I wish there were more of, like, you know, because you gotta think that the Hobbits, you know, back in the Shire and whatnot, you gotta think that they were like, you know, shit's going down. Like that one dude, he got asked about where the ring was, and then, you know, thought he was gonna have a shipwreck and stuff, and then this one guy disappears after his birthday. Maybe we should kind of, you know, start maybe fighting back, or helping join the cause or whatnot, but, no, apparently not. At least not in the movies. And I know the movies are like each 3 hours and some minutes long, if you're not counting the extended edition. But, I don't know. I would have, like, at least in one of maybe the games or something to acknowledge that, to be like, hey, some of the Hobbits are trying, you know. Because you kind of wonder what they're all doing. They're just sitting around there going like, so you hear about how all the orcs are killing, like, Gondor, and they're, like, you know, being decimated and towns are being overrun and shit? Yeah, that sucks for them. That's, well, hope nothing happens to them, because if not, we are screwed. And I get that they're small, but I mean, the dwarves are small. The dwarves help out, or at least whatever's left of the dwarves. You know, all 2 of them that seem to have survived. Here we are, building it up. Mori's not too long of a section. We're not too long till it's over. Just about done. But I shall see you next time.